And now, with Hot Press, The Rock Report. Radio Nova.
I'll get you back for that one, Erwin. Very good evening. This is The Rock Report. I'm Paul Moriarty, live from the Horse-Show House in Ballsbridge for what is a very special Rock Report. He's at the top of every guitar list. Greatest riff, greatest solo, greatest guitar player of all time. And he's the coolest guy and one of the nicest guys in rock and roll. Slash. Last week, he was on tour in the United Kingdom, and our Marty Miller grabbed a few exclusive minutes with him.
Getting right to the heart of the big rock stories. The 6 o'clock Rock Report in association with Hot Press. Radio Nova.
Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games.
His star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame sits alongside Jimmy Page, Eddie Van Halen and Jimi Hendrix. He's a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's been there and he's done that, and he isn't bad on guitar either. Slash.
Marty.
Hey man, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Well, I'm very annoyed at you, to be quite honest with you. Why are you not seeing us here in Ireland? You're a cheap Ryanair flight away, man. We could have had you over here for $10 or something.
Listen, don't think I wasn't prepared for this. All right. when we booked this tour, or when the agent booked this tour, and I will put the blame where it belongs, he didn't book Ireland. And so then when I said, well, you got to fucking put Ireland in there, he goes, well, we don't have any room. So I said, well, you know, that's pretty up. And so we have a Eastern European tour coming up in February, and I made them put Ireland on the front of that. So that's where we're coming to Ireland.
Ah, no.
But it's not my fault. It was, and I won't say his name, but he knows that I was very miffed about that whole thing.
No, let's name and shame him. Let's get it out there and let Ireland know who messed this up for us.
Yeah, I'm going to see him tomorrow. And I told him, I said, you know, that's like one of the most special places that we have to go to. Why would you not think that? They only think of like where the you know, where the big money is in big cities and this and that and the other.
Hey, hang on a second. I'm from Leeds, so I can say this, but you're doing Newcastle over Dublin.
Well, okay, but the reason we're doing Newcastle is because when I put odd requests in, like we did Stoke last year.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, I said Newcastle because we haven't been there, so he put it in. I didn't think I had to say Dublin.
From your tweets, you're really enjoying being on the road this time round. It's been a good run, looking at what you've been saying on Twitter.
Yeah, no, this whole experience from the time that I did the first solo record up through meeting Miles and then going on the road for the first time with him and Brent and Todd and those guys, and then, you know, becoming really more, you know, of a band, and then going in to make a record and coming out. It's all been very well received, and the shows have been fucking dynamite. I mean, like, the crowds have been great. The band just has a great time anyway, but, you know, and we have a lot of, you know, new material and so on and so forth. So it's just been, I haven't had this much fun in decades.
This one feels very coherent, doesn't it?
Well, this one was definitely, the difference between the two is when I made the last solo record, it was like, you know, I had the material, and then I figured out who I thought should sing, and then I had just Josh Freese on drums and Chris from Jane's Addiction on bass, but they were like, they had to learn the songs that morning, that we would record the song that afternoon. So it was really sort of put together piecemeal in that way. Whereas this one, we wrote the material on the road, we got off the road, we did a month's worth of pre-production, just getting to know the material backwards and forwards, and it went into the studio and just recorded it live. So it's very much more of a cohesive band feel, you know.
And that really comes across on the record. It feels like you have now found another new home. Would I be right in saying that with Miles, or?
Yeah, no, we're definitely going to go in and do another record and keep this going, you know. So after this tour's over, Miles is going to go and do Alter Bridge and do that album and that tour, and then as soon as he's done, we'll go in and do another record.
Will you be making some guest appearances with him now for Alter Bridge?
that's never a planned out thing. That's very spontaneous.
Right.
If I happen to be in the same place that Alter Bridge is at.
What's your favourite track to play off the new album? And if we're to play one right after we talk now, what do we have to play?
There is no, I'm a lousy salesman, but I mean, there's any handful of songs, I suppose.
Well, I like the Talk Box in Carolina. I think that's
we've
very
been
cool.
Playing that live lately, and it sounds really good.
Yeah.
So you can play anything you want.
Or Bad Rain, which the new video is out for.
Yeah, have you seen the video?
I have seen it.
Apparently, they're banning it. It's another
not surprised.
band/video.
No, good. Look, it gives you something to go. Yep, pissed them off again.
My management came to me and they said, well, we were wondering if we could G-rate the video and cut out some of the bare-chested stuff. So that's the best part of the video. I told them
For
to
sure.
make the band secondary and just show more skin. So no, leave it. I don't.
You know what? I do not know how you manage to do what you do in the time that we have on this earth because, from your family, from recording to touring to... Do you still steal stuff?
Steal stuff? I thought that's what you said. No, I went through a little klepto period when I was younger. I didn't have any money, and any time that I ever, I had the chance, I paid whoever it was back.
Okay, because I was going to share something I stole very recently with you if you were to share something with me, but you haven't nicked anything. You've been good, right?
What did you do?
You know the I-95 sign on the interstate there?
The interstate in the States?
Yeah. You know the I-95 sign?
You stole that? You went over to America and stole something?
Not only I stopped on the interstate, got a wrench out of the car, took the sign off, drove down to Santa Monica, bent the sign so it would go in my suitcase, shit a brick as I was going through customs and stuff in LAX because I thought it was going to come up in the scanners. But I got it home and it's on the wall right now behind me as I'm talking to you.
You know how many people got lost because of
that? So listen, what else is going on with you?
We're doing this UK Europe tour for the rest of this month, and then we have a tour in South America in November, and then taking December and January off because we will have toured for 9 months straight. I could count pretty much on two hands the amount of days off that we had, and then we come back and do Eastern Europe, including Ireland.
That's an exclusive now, right? February for Ireland.
Yeah, that's Ireland is on the front end of that tour. So, in other words, we're going from Ireland to Czechoslovakia. Anyway, and then we do an Asian tour in May, and then during that rest of that time off, Miles is going to be working with Alter Bridge and probably touring this summer and so on and so forth. And then we'll be doing another record later on in the year and probably be out on the road by next year or something like that, or the following year. Okay. And that's the immediate stuff that I know. And then right now, as we speak, I'm scoring this horror movie that I don't know if you know that I've been producing a
slasher films,
for a while now.
Right.
And this movie's in post now, so I'm doing. I have a composer in LA, and I send him files of the stuff that I write, and then he puts it into the film.
So here we are chatting in 2012. Out of everything you've done and everything you're still doing and doing right now, what's left for you? Is there something that you're going, oh God, I've got to do that before I die?
I think probably what it is that I do is the main, as a musician is the main focus. I just like to write cool riffs and go out. And the most important thing for me, and I realized recently that when I first started playing guitar, the whole thing was about concerts. Like everything I listened to was live records. That's how I got into all the bands that I was into. And it was all about performing in front of an audience. And I realized that's been the main driver. It's not even, I like making records. I enjoy the process, but it's a means to an end to go out and do concerts. So as long as I'm touring, I'm good,
Would you say that this has been, the best time for you? Or do you look back and kind of go, oh, I like that time of my life?
Oh no! This has been this whole period. This last like 3 years or so, has been a huge sort of shot in the arm for me because I've been sort of scraping around doing this and that and having, sort of a frustrating time with Velvet Revolver just because of certain obstacles that were difficult to navigate. And then, there was, before that, I was sort of like Snake Pit, which I wasn't really sure. I wasn't planning a career out of that. It was just sort of a throw together thing. Yeah. So this has been the most focused that I've been, since the early Guns days, which, the first few years of Guns after we put out Appetite was probably the best period of that whole thing. And this is very reminiscent of that. So it's cool.
Are you happy with Slash and Intimate Portrait? Are you very happy about that? That's 20 years of you and photographs. That's incredible.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, Robert, somebody who I've been friends with for a long time, and he's shot me, from, like very casually. He's shot a bunch of shows. He's taken a bunch of candid pictures, and we've had a couple photo shoots over the last 20 years. But I mean, I didn't know he had enough stuff to make an actual book, and he went ahead and made this book. And I've only seen it once. He sent me the files on it so I could approve some of the already pre-approved pictures or whatnot. But it is sort of like a pictorial testimony of over time. So it's an honor to have somebody go out and put together that kind of, put together a book and that kind of effort for you.
And Ron Wood doing the foreword. I saw you.
Ron Wood and Joe Perry.
I saw you perform with Ronnie back in 2001 here when you did Vicar Street. That was an unbelievable night. That
was such a blast. That was the year. That was actually the year that my son London was conceived. That was that tour.
What was it in Dublin? Because this could be the exclusive.
It was at his house.
Are you serious? You could have called your son Dublin.
Yeah, it was either the Ireland house or the London house, but one of those two houses. There's a story for you.
Yeah. Come here, really quickly, just with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing. The nominations are out now, and Heart are in there, and Rush finally are in there, and Deep Purple. Are you surprised to have made it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before Deep Purple?
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was let's see, at best, prior to having actually gone there and being inducted, everybody was very skeptical about it. Let's put it that way. And I had issue with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which I never really paid attention to. So like over the years, I didn't know who was in there or whatever. But it was just, in the last few years, I started paying attention to what was going on. And it just seemed to me that Deep Purple is probably one of the most influential rock and roll heavy metal bands of all time, and it just seemed asinine that they weren't in there, and I felt embarrassed to be nominated, let alone inducted ahead of them. Not to mention a lot of other bands that I won't get into naming because there's a long list, but of bands who have been around and who influenced myself and some of the other guys in Guns N' Roses, and they haven't even been mentioned. Yeah. And so that was an awkward kind of thing. It dawned on me that everybody, sort of gets in at some point or another. You just don't know exactly what the fucking criteria is to get in there, Yeah. I've been petitioning for Deep Purple to get in there, and so I'm glad that they finally got on the ballot.
Finally, they've got the nod. You go and get yourself a drink of water. It has been really sweet to talk to you. Thank you so much for giving Nova and Dublin some time. And come see us soon. February we're slated down for, which is excellent. Continued success with everything you do, man. We like your style.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate it, and I appreciate being given a forum to be able to explain what the whole sort of Ireland situation was, because I haven't talked to anybody over this. So you're the first.
It's an Irish exclusive, Slash, on Radio Nova. And guess who's going to be first in line when those tickets go on sale for the February show? No word on venue just yet, but as soon as we know here at Nova, we'll let you know.
Oh, just how cool was that? Slash exclusive on Radio Nova, and we cannot wait until February.
Getting right to the heart of the big rock stories. The 6 o'clock Rock Report in association with Hot Press Radio Nova.